welcome to today's speaker meeting. Today we're going to be listening to Chad. Chad's awesome. He's been at R3 now, a year? Year and a half. Mm-hmm. Okay, and he's expecting the baby. He's 20 some odd weeks pregnant, so we're loving all that. But Chad is a very dedicated individual. He went through, you guys are going to hear about his struggle and his successes. And he's pretty damn amazing here. He helps out all of our people. So let's give a round warm supply. Chad.
Thank you, man.
You're welcome.
Hey guys, my name is Chad Kime. I am 36 years old, and I'm a person who is in recovery. So my sobriety date is December 25th of 2021. That's what I reached the bottom. So it started a little bit before that, right? So I was born to a pretty good family, Christian family. Every time the doors were open, I was in church, right? They did their best to raise us right. So I was homeschooled until high school, then I did a correspondence program, and then I went to college. In between there, I did the first thing that ever made me feel different, right? And I didn't smoke nothing, I didn't drink no alcohol. It was opiates. It was from a doctor. It was some routine, right? You know what I mean? It was like a routine break, routine surgery. But I was like 13, 14, right? And as soon as I did that, it was magical. It was just magic. You know, all my anxiety, depression, my fears. I was excited. I was ready to go. You know, I wasn't worried about anything. And I would chase that feeling for the rest of my life. My mom also had cancer about 3 times. So she was very, she hid stuff, but I was also a very curious little kid. I was into everything, So it wasn't like they were just laying out. I didn't have examples of drug use or alcoholism in my family or my house, but I had my baseline. I knew what that would do, right? So those pills were mine, She didn't take them. I took them. And so it went from there. So fast forward, I went to college. I met this girl there. She was 6 years older than me. She had tattoos, and she bought me alcohol and cigarettes, and so that was pretty cool. We got together. She was there for massage therapy. I was there for recording engineering. She needed somebody to practice on, so I was her take-home project. We wound up getting together. By the time that she was graduating, I was dropping out, because I found out when I got to college that there were other things I could do than go to college to make money, right? I could have fun and make money doing other things that made me feel better, right? And so I went after that with a vengeance, with a passion, right? Because the way that my parents raised me, I didn't like that. So I didn't talk to them for about 4 years. I didn't talk to anybody in my family. I didn't talk to any of my 2 sisters, 1 brother. I didn't have nothing to do with them. I didn't talk to my grandparents. I just disowned them. Because screw you. It's your fault, and now I'm out here having a good time. So I continued on like that. I had a full-time job. I went to college full-time, and I worked at a bar from Thursday nights till Monday morning. And I liked work. I found out that I like making money. I like getting money. I like sitting at my table Monday morning just tired as heck, just stacking up all my cash, just being like, I did this, and passing out. So I always had a strong work ethic. Was always going after it. Fast forward, me and that girl did not work out, She said I was aspiring to be a drug dealer, and I couldn't really argue with her. So she took off, and I just kept doing what I was doing. I had a friend, and that friend became the next girl that I was going to be with, right? So I continued on going out, and up until the age of 23, I did do opiates, I did do pills and stuff like that. I was a really trippy hippie. I did things like that, but I saw certain things. I saw how they affected people, right? So I had standards, right? I wouldn't do certain things because I knew that it was going to take all my stuff. It was going to mess me up. I saw how it did you, and it wasn't going to do me like that. So you couldn't be around me doing those things, You could go do them, but you weren't going to be with me. You weren't going to be around me doing those things. I was just very, you weren't going to do it around me. Age of 23, I'm with my wife now, and we got in a fight. And so I was like, screw it, I'm gonna go have fun. So at 23, I decided to relax those standards, and it was off to the races, man. I did my first little bit, and it was, and so I was mainlining everything at this point. Anything I could get, any way I could get it, I was doing it. I was miserable. I was hurt. I was upset. My relationship with my wife was not good. I've always been a hopeless romantic. And I was addicted. I was more codependent than anything. I really wanted a relationship. I wanted a family. I wanted to be able to come home and belong, you know, because my growing up was a prison. The way that they raised us, you know, they did the best. They had good intentions, right? You know, but it really did me dirty, you know. I did not feel like I was ready. I got ready real quick, but, you know, I held that against them. So, or 23, relax my standards, kept it hot. So my answer to all this stuff, all these miserable feelings and stuff like that, was I'm going to make my own family, right? We're not getting along. Everything's not going good, but I still got my stuff. I got my credit. I got my car. I'm gonna get me a house, you know? So I got me a mortgage. Didn't even look at the house. I let her pick it out, paid for it, signed my life away, and we moved in. Not a good decision. Not a good decision. Because I was running rampant. I was a terrorist in this town that I was in. And turns out one of my neighbors was on the police force, right? He was this officer, and he did not like me. So yeah, we started doing that whole bit. She was in and out of the house. I was in and out of the house. And everything was going, but it was starting to rapidly deteriorate. So I started running around town, being real drunk, being real upset. I thought, I need to fix this. So what would fix it? A kid. A kid will fix it, right? I'm gonna have a kid, and then it'll have to be better. Well, so she got pregnant, and I simultaneously got another girl pregnant at the same time, and neither one of those pregnancies worked out, and that just crushed me. Like, my perception was my reality, and I was destroyed, and I could not get off my couch in that house to go check the mail because I was so just beaten down with it. I knew that everything I'd done to that point didn't matter. I knew that my credit was gone. I knew the house was gone. I knew my car was already sold because I'm getting ready to smoke that. You know, and that's what happened. I couldn't keep it together, and I didn't keep it together. She left. I left. And so I started the cycle of jails, institutions, and trying to die. So that's what I ran after. Real hard. Didn't have a car, but I had feet. She had a car, you know? Didn't have a license. I started getting DUIs. Started getting in trouble with the police. So at the age of 23, I got in big boy trouble. And everybody gets one. My dad came through with that one, which was pretty cool. So I had, a family lawyer, which was great. I wound up getting out of a couple felonies for going in a house that I was staying in, taking my own things, but she was mad at me. So those are felonies, I took my own stuff, but that's whatever. Got felony theft of dog, lots of fun things. Went to a program for a year, got a nudge for a judge, went to a program. I lasted about 3 months. I got kicked out for dipping snuff. It's one of those kind of programs where you pray away the headache and stuff like that. I'm not saying those aren't good programs, but I was not there. You know what I mean? I wasn't here for it. So I come back out, and I had to start trying to figure it out on my own because my parents weren't going to let me come home. I got to come home one time after that, and I got out of there as quick as I could. I found some other girl. She told me she loved me the morning after we met, and I was like, great, do you want to move in together? Because I need a house. And so that's what we did. And I was really trying, right? I was going real hard. I was doing everything I wanted to do, but I was working. I was paying bills. I'd gotten a car. I had lost my license for a year, right? But I got it back, so I'm doing it again. Well, didn't take long. That didn't work out. I got locked up again. I got another DUI. Down that same hole, just slowly circling to the bottom. Fast forward again, I just kept going in and out of rehabs. Probation sucked. I met this other girl. I was homeless. Met up with her and, slid in with her, started doing stuff, started doing what I know how to do, started making money, started showing out, doing all the things that I'm used to. And we moved into this house, and I had this plan. Well, my lawyer dropped the ball on one of these DUIs that I had, right? And he did not get rid of it like he said he was going to. Instead, I got offered by a judge a mistrial for the DWI I was there for, and another one. He's like, you can just go for 2 years, or you can do 30 days and get probation. I was like, 30 days in probation, that'd be great. So I'm 30 days in probation and out, and I can't do what I want to do because now probation's knocking on my door every other day. So it's like, shoot, man. So my solution to this, in my brilliance, is to leave. So I left. So we packed up, put it in the car, and go to Florida. Didn't work. Tried really hard, but everywhere that I went, there I was, and I was getting us kicked out. I was drunk. I was high, and nobody wanted us around. You know, she could drink. She could keep it together. You know, she drank real heavy. She could do things. I was not that person. I did something, and I'm active and reactive, and I'm going. You know, so it did not work out. I was getting us thrown out of everywhere. So one night she's like, "Man, you're gonna have to go." And I was like, you gonna hang on with me? She's like, yeah. So I got a plane ticket back to North Carolina, and they will come and give you a ride to jail from the airport. Go figure. You know what I mean? So I touched down. They come pick me up. I went to jail. I hung out in jail for a year for absconding. I got out. My parents are not gonna let me come home. So I go to a program. I go to this program. I start doing good. Start feeling a little better, you know what I mean? I get me a job, I save up a few $1,000s. I hit her up, I'm like, listen, man, I was like, you said you're gonna come back. I got this money, you know, I'm clean, I'm doing good. And she's like, yeah, you're definitely gonna have to be clean for like a year. You have to be doing some stuff, I'm not coming back to that. And I was like, okay. Took a weekend, I got a case of beer because I deserved it. Then I bought the whole bar, and then I had everything else in my pocket before the end of the night, and I was just gone. All right. I also neglected. I'm gonna have to bounce back. While I was with this girl before we went to Florida, I OD'd for the first time. One of those trips to jail. Did 30 days. Came out. I found some stuff that I thought was my stuff, but it was my stuff plus. I did it. I looked at her. I was like, "Don't do it." I hit the ground. She gave me CPR for 15, 20 minutes. Hit with Narcan 3 times, and I'm here. Of course, when I came back, I was more angry and concerned about doing, what I needed to do to feel better, and they needed to leave. A couple days after that, I'm in the hospital bleeding out of both ends because I can't stop drinking. I'm drinking like 1.5 gallons of liquor a day at that point. Real miserable. Trying to take sips of liquor between the tramadol so I can try to get rid of this pit in my chest, right? So that had happened before. Come back, doing all this stuff. She said, I'm not going back. I go back out. I overdose again. Luckily, the people I was hanging out with had Narcan. So there's my life saved again. Doing the same things, homeless, shirtless, shoeless, penniless, but nobody was bothering me. And I didn't think I was bothering anybody because I'm not asking you for money. I wasn't trying to steal from you. I'm just trying to walk 20 miles a day for fractions of a point, nobody's bothering me. So it didn't work out. The girl wasn't coming back. She didn't understand why I wouldn't quit doing drugs. I didn't understand why she wouldn't come back. So I was heartbroken. And so what did I do? I went back to Florida because that's the answer, right? Probation's not working out. I'm homeless. I don't know. I got off the bus in Tampa and I stepped out onto the street with nothing. And I started walking. Met some people, did some things. I ran out of my MAT. Started feeling really bad. MAT was keeping me safe at that point. I was doing some stuff, but I wasn't doing some of the other stuff. I went to a rehab. I did well. I got a job. I saved money. I called her. She didn't come back. I went. There I go again. Same thing. In Florida, I found that on a street level, some of the things I was doing were not the things that I thought I was doing. And I started getting real bad in here. And I wasn't okay. I was real spun out. My perception of my reality again. And my perception was terrifying. I was scared, y'all. I was bent out of shape. And so I'm bouncing back and forth between sober living, Oxford houses, detoxes, trying to find an answer to fit in. If I can just hang on long enough, maybe if I can just find a place where they'll just leave me alone for a couple days, maybe I'll start feeling better, but I never felt better. I'm on and off of my mental health medications. I'm just not doing well. So after really getting burnt out and continuing to the point I just couldn't do it anymore, I came back. And again, they came and got me from the airport and I went to jail. I'm sitting in jail, still not doing well. The effects of those things I was doing hung on a lot longer than I expected them to. And so I did my little bit of time. I got the opportunity to get out early, but of course I cannot go home, so I go to another program, right? Programming it out. I'm good at programming. I went to this program. It was the kind of program where you have to put in the effort, right? There's a lot of things that you can do. There's the ability to be on MAT. There's the ability to be on your mental health medications, but they didn't have it all in-house. It was going to take some time, right? And I need help now. And I wasn't okay. There was too many people around. I was just bent. I needed it to stop. I couldn't get it to stop. My answer was that I had to end it. Like, I thought about it. I was running. I was spinning so hard over and over. I was like, this has got to stop. I cannot do this. It started pouring out. My anxieties and my insecurities and my fears were pouring out to people around me, right? It starts to expand, and my perception is going crazy. So I planned it out. I ran away from that rehab into the top of a bridge. Luckily, I was unsuccessful. They grabbed me. They took me to a hospitalization detox. I got back on my mental health medications, and I got the opportunity to, one more time, go to rehab. My dad told me on the way there, he's like, hey man, if you don't get it this time, don't bother about calling your mom, don't call your brothers and sisters. And he's the kind of person that would make sure that happened, you know? Because I still call my mom. I was always honest with my mom. She always knew what I was doing, you know, because she knew anyway. You know, I can't lie to her. She knew. I wasn't calling for money, but I'd always be honest. And that was like, but I was like, well, if I don't make it anyway, I'm just dead, you know? Like, I'd already tried to send it. So that was kind of, it didn't really help or hurt or nothing. It was just kind of what it was. I showed up, and the people there told me that I had to change everything I'd ever done or it wasn't going to work. And I felt that was going to be true, right? Because I tried everything, man. I've been on everything kind of maintenance treatment. I've tried everything that's available. You know, I've put in the work. I've tried every kind of mental health medication that they would give me that I could get my hands on, you know. These things weren't working for me. And my answer, again, was to kill myself, you know what I mean? So obviously, and I couldn't even get that all the way through, so I was like, okay, let's do something different. So I had to find somebody that they look exactly like me, they were tatted up, they had shot more dope than they'd ever drank alcohol, but they identified as an alcoholic, and they'd been through so much terrible things just like me. But the difference was they were happy, they had a job, they had a wife, they had a house, they had a business, and I wanted to know, how did you do this, right? So I started asking questions. I had to figure out that I had to trust somebody. I had to find somebody to trust with my stuff. The stuff I was going to die with was the stuff that was killing me. I had to get it out of me somehow. I had to find somebody that I could leave it with because it was eating me from the inside out, and it was coming out. So I bought into that, and I went real hard with it. Changed everything. I even quit smoking cigarettes. I do not recommend that, but I started working out. I quit smoking cigarettes. I didn't smoke cigarettes for about 2 years. Of course, I'm back on it now. You know what I mean? I got the Zen in my mouth. But like I said, don't recommend it. But I went through rehab. I still felt crazy as hell. I got me a sponsor. I stayed in his pocket because I was bent, man. What did he mean by that? Screw him, you know what I mean? Anything and everything had to be tipped. You know, I was insecure, I was upset, my feelings were unregulated, you know, my emotions were all over the place, and it took a long while. I still have stuff that's not plugged in right. You know, I'm still working on that today. I still go to therapy. But those people loved me until I could love myself. They believed in me until I could believe in myself. And they were really there for me, man. And that connection was the opposite of my addiction that brought me in close to where, you know, I can be the person that I am today. So I sat in that supportive living for about a year, close to a year and a half, somewhere in between there. Like I said, 4 DWIs, so I hadn't had a license or a car in over a decade. So that gave me the opportunity to save my pennies. I got my license back, I got my car back, and I got that therapy, the therapy plant or whatever, like in the movie, you know, the rehab plant. I got me a plant. I kept it alive, you know, and I'm sitting in this supportive living environment, and I'm starting to feel kind of crummy, right? Because, you know, I was told I'm not supposed to be in a relationship for a year, and I was like, that's probably a good idea. On top of that, when I got there, I never called old girl back. That was one of the biggest things that was relationships that I was addicted to. I needed to hear that you loved me. I needed you to tell me that I was going to be okay, because I couldn't believe myself. I didn't love myself. So I made that decision, and I never called her back. Probably one of the hardest things I ever did. But so I'm sitting there, and I was praying. I was just like, man, if you want me to be single, please make me happy, because this is starting to get real embarrassing. You know what I mean? Like, I have to look at myself. And so I just kept doing what I was doing, just kept swinging, and I met this girl. And she's a lot different than the other girls that I usually chase. Much different. She was a single mother of 2 boys whose life had also been saved by Narcan. And she had been sober at that point for about 6 years, going on 7, I do believe. And I was scared, y'all. It was kind of scary, you know what I mean? I was like, I kind of like her, you know what I mean? But so we just kind of went into it. I went to go get my peer support certification, and she was in my class. So near the end of that, we're wrapping up. I asked her if she wanted to go to dinner. Before the end of the weekend, you know, we were talking pretty steady, and we went into that. And so that kind of leads me to where my life is today. Everything that I went through leading up to this shaped me for today. My relationship today is different. We aren't addicted. We're not doing the same things that we used to do. I have a house. I still have the same plant that I kept alive. It's still there. Fred the plant. I have a dog. It's pretty cool. I'm the stepdad to 2 beautiful boys. One whose dad was never there. And that was something that I thought, I'm never going to do this. You know what I mean? Because I was with a lot of different girls, you know, in between the long-term relationships and throughout or whatever. But I was never going to take care of somebody else's kids. And that was just shameful, because at this point, you know, I love her. They come with her, and they didn't get a choice. You know, they didn't get to choose where they showed up in this world. And I love them to death, and they love me. And that's one of the biggest blessings I've ever got in my life, is the opportunity to be that stepdad figure to those 2 kids. And so we're living, doing that. I still have my license. I have a blow and go in my car, and I can afford it, which is really cool. I have money in my account. I have a job. You know, I got off probation about 2.5 years ago for the first time in my entire adult life. You know what I mean? Which was crazy. You know, probation had my number, man. I could not get off of it. It's a trap. But everything's awesome, man. And like, I have to watch myself, because I was used to things coming around the bend and over the hill and just taking me out, knocking me over the top of the head, you know, because what I was doing, I wasn't moving in a way that was honorable or respectful or respectable. You know what I mean? And so what I was putting out was what I was getting back. And so today I get the opportunity to try to make a difference just where I'm at. And so today I just get up every day, and I do my best to try to love every individual that I come into contact with without bias, because anybody will hate you for any reason or for no reason at all. And I don't think we deserve that. I believe that everyone is a human being, and everyone deserves love and opportunities and chances. Many chances, because I got so many freaking chances. There's no reason I should be here with you guys today. There's no reason I should be standing here.
He's proud of you, Mark.
Thanks, man. And I'm glad you're here too. You know, if ain't nobody told you that they love you today, I love you. And I mean that, bro.
Yes,
because like the stuff that we go through, the stuff that we have seen, the stuff that's been done to us, the stuff that we've done to other people, you know what I mean? Today, we don't have to let that define us. I don't have to let that define me today. And so I stand before you today, and I'm just really grateful. I'm really appreciative. I'm really grateful to be a part of you guys' lives. And thank you for being a part of my story. And thanks for letting me speak. And I hope you guys have a great day.
Good job.